Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a 3v3 on Arabia. Aoe2 and I are going to be watching 6 inexperienced players from my live stream play a 3v3 on the map Arabia, and we're going to be giving them live advice as they play. So throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about very important game concepts, and hopefully you all find this educational and helpful in some way or another. The goal of this series is so that you can improve your game and learn a bit about very important game concepts. I'd like to do one of these matches during every single one of my live streams, so if you follow me on Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter, you will know when I'm live streaming. You can participate in these matches. If you would like some sort of live advice, then this is the best way to do it. Alright, let's see. First things first is early game. What you want to do, you start with 3 villagers, right? Unless you're playing one of those crazy civs like the Chinese, you know. What's up with the Chinese? They're crazy, right? There's 6 villagers. Ugh. So weird. Anyway, you start with 3 villagers, right? What you want to do, you want to take these villagers, you want to build 2 houses. You want to split those villagers between the 2 houses, that way they both finish in a reasonable time. So you want to build those 2 houses. You want to make sure that the houses aren't too close to your town center, though. You want to leave at least enough space between your town center for a farm between your house and the TC. So this is perfect. Farm takes up 3 tiles, so 1, 2, 3. This house over there, perfect. Perfect. Build 1 house with 2 villagers and 1 house with the other. It's the most efficient way to do it. That way your first house, basically 2 villagers on 1 house will finish the house just in time so that you don't get pop capped for too long. And then the next villager on the other house will just make sure that it gets up in the most timely manner. Aha, thank you. Alright, that's a shot, guys. You gotta take a drink for that. So anyway, 2 houses, right? First things first. 2 houses. And then you want to put those builders on sheep, 3 villagers on the sheep, and then you want to take the next 3 villagers that you make for a grand total of 6. I repeat, 6 villagers. 6 villagers on sheep. Wish you guys could see me doing the weird hand signals and stuff. No, 6 villagers on sheep, guys. Then after that, you want to build your lumber camp. You want to build your lumber camp, Charlene, alright? So you want to put the 6 villagers on the sheep, and you want to go build that lumber camp, alright? You need to see what I'm talking about. Put that lumber camp. You want to put 3 villagers on the lumber camp, but you can also put 4 villagers in the lumber camp if you're feeling really, really crazy. You can put 4. 4 is okay, but you can't. Don't go more than that, okay? 4 villagers in the lumber camp is if you're going for some sort of dark age rush. A militia rush, really. So if you're going for, like, a drush, you know, that means that you're gonna need a barracks, right? Barracks cost a ton of wood, so you're gonna need lots of extra villagers on that on that lumber camp so you can stockpile wood, right? If you're going for like an early dock or something like that, it might not be a bad idea for 4 villagers on wood, but 3 is the magic number, guys. 4 is a-okay if you think you're gonna need that early extra wood for something, but 3 is good. So around this time, I mean, you know, if you're new to the game, don't worry about it, but it is generally a good idea to do some scouting with your sheep if you can, but, I mean, you got so many things to manage that, you know, that's lower on the priority list than getting everything else on lockdown. So, remember, brief recap. That's 6 villagers on sheep, guys. 3 villagers on the lumber camp. This is a really general opening. It'll get you super duper far. And then what do you do next? Well, you're going to build another house pretty soon, so I'd recommend building a house after that. And then start considering hunting your first boar, your first wild boar. You're going to shoot it twice with a villager, and you're going to run it underneath your town center, just like our turtle fellow is right here. This is looking good. This is looking like a perfect boar lure. You probably want to research loom right before this, so 6 on sheep, 3 on wood, build a house, get loom while the house is building, and go hunt your first boar. The reason that you want to harvest the boar from underneath your town center and not where the boar originally spawned is it's more efficient this way. When your villagers are, you know, they got their arms full of food, they don't have to walk from point A to point B to go drop it off. They can just immediately stand up and drop it. And Alarin is right. A general rule of thumb is when you are putting down your resource drop-off buildings is you want to put them as close to the resource as possible. There are some exceptions, but yeah, I ideally don't leave a tile in between, but sometimes you would want to. In the case of gold, it depends. But yeah, put them as close as possible so people are indeed doing that. Got a nice little boar lure going on. Every time I hunt a boar, guys, I like to use that as a signal to build a Dark Age building. So the moment that my first boar is underneath my town center, I start harvesting from it. That's when I'm going to put down my mill. Gonna put that right next to the forage bushes, gonna start harvesting from those berries. And when I get the second boar, which will be right as my first boar is running out of food, it's just about to finish, I'll get my second boar, run underneath the town center, and we're gonna build a gold mine then. Now, let's say, yeah, there are exceptions for high-level play if you do the quick wall. Yeah, definitely not applicable here, though. You were very, very right. Now, here's one thing that I'm noticing. Alright, right off the bat, this is a problem. This is a problem. If you look at the scores, which you should always have up, Delta USA is falling behind. And I know what you're thinking. Why? What's up with this score? What's going on here? What's going on? Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Look at his villager count. Way too low. He's got like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Ooh, no, that's not going to cut it because everybody else has so many more villagers. I think Mr. Zircon might have like 15 or something at this point. Absolutely absurd, so. Guys, in the early game, your town center should always be, actually throughout the, basically up until the Imperial Age, your town center should never be idle. It should always be either creating a villager or researching a technology at all times. At all times. And you know, it goes without saying that you don't want idle villagers, but an idle TC is the worst thing ever. If you're having trouble managing the early game, it's more important to have, like, constant villager production than it is to make sure that they're all assigned appropriately. It's so very important to make sure that your town center is never idle. If you have trouble keeping track of that, just press the H hotkey and then C. H jumps to your town center, and then C will create a villager. Perfect. But Delta USA is unfortunately falling behind because his town center has been idle for a rather lengthy period. And you know, I haven't really talked too much about the standard build order because after the first boar, it can really vary. What matters most is that you're constantly producing villagers, and your villagers are appropriately assigned. So, you know, you get your second boar just as your first boar is running out, so that way your second boar will reach underneath your TC just as your first boar runs out of food. You'll be able to time that, you know, it depends on the distance of the boar and whatnot, but you know, around 150 food remaining on the boar is a good time to get the second one. Yeah, oh yeah, Delta USA does not have a lumber camp either. Always build your lumber camp before your mill as well. Well, that's not always true, but that's like a 99% of the time rule. 99% of the time. Oh, hey, Aaron's here. Hello, Aaron. What's up? Yeah, so, keep those villagers on, constantly in production. Alright, one other thing that's really important, like I said, was assigning your villagers to the appropriate resource. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, you only want to be gathering from the resources that you currently need. Planning for the future is good, don't get me wrong. You don't want to plan too deep into the future, right? There's no point in like, let's say you know you're going for monks in the Castle Age. You do not want, like, 10 villagers on gold in the Dark Age to prep preemptively for that. That's way too long in the future. It's way too inefficient. So what you want to do is... The Dark Age is like the economic foundation for the rest of the game, right? What you do in the Dark Age is going to set you up for the rest of the game. You don't want to stay in the Dark Age for too long. There's nothing that you can do in the Dark Age. So you generally want to, Did someone die? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, yeah, no, there's a scout. Okay. You don't want to stay in the Dark Age forever. There's nothing you can do in the Dark Age. You want to stay in there for lengthier amount of time if you were going for some sort of fast Castle Age or something like that. Because while you're advancing to the next age, you can't produce any more villagers, so the villagers that you have already will be stockpiling extra resources for you. But yeah. You don't want to stay in the Dark Age forever, right? So your first priority is getting out of the Dark Age. What do you need to get out of the Dark Age? You're going to need some wood, so you can build your lumber camp and your mill, your 2 Dark Age buildings, which are required to advance to the next age. And you're going to need 500 food. That's a lot of food, right? That's a lot of food. So, if you don't, you have no use for gold in the Dark Age unless you're going for some drush, right? There's nothing that costs gold in the Dark Age besides militia and loom. So, screw gold. Also, no stone mines in the Dark Age, guys, unless you're going for some specific weird strategy like a tower rush. No stone in the Dark Age. I don't want to see any stone miners. Alright? Unless you're, like, doing something strange and you're, like, selling the stone, but... You know, like, Turtle over here, our teal-colored player, has 4 villagers on gold. Why? You don't need them. You don't need them. If your feudal... Okay, like, if your feudal time sucks and your Dark Age is going wrong and you have no idea why, that means you have way too many villagers on the wrong things. If you have like 60% of your villagers on food, like 30% on wood, and like 10% on gold, you're done. You're perfect. You're going places. Those are really rough estimates, though. I would say that the only time that you'd want to really invest in gold in the Dark Age is if you're going for some sort of a drush or something like that. But you really never need more than 2 villagers on gold in the Dark Age, ever. You really don't. You're really never going to need more than 2 villagers on gold in the Dark Age. Turtle could have those 2 villagers on something else, and it would make a big difference, definitely. But pretty good feudal time, though, from Turtle over there. Now, if Turtle is going for some sort of archer rush, which I'm assuming because he's the Britons, and, you know, that's definitely a good idea to stockpile on that gold, he still won't need more than 2 in the Dark Age. You can start investing in gold as soon as you get to the feudal age. You don't want to plan too much in advance. Good to see Delta here is definitely making is finally making his lumber camp. That's really good. He's really got to keep his town center producing villagers, though. He's really falling behind here in his villager count. His town center has been idle for a really lengthy period of time. And it's okay to have what he has, which is these idle villagers, right? They're sitting underneath his town center. That's the kind of thing that is a lower priority than constantly, than just being behind in villagers. It's better to have your villagers idle than to not have any villagers at all. And to make it easier, I guess, to keep track of all your villagers, set a gather point with your town center. So, what Delta could do here is he could left-click his town center and he can right-click these forage bushes, for example. It gives him one less thing to manage. Every time his villagers spawn, they're going to go plop onto those forage bushes, and he's just set. It's one less thing that he has to worry about, and then he can keep popping out those villagers with really no problems whatsoever. Yeah, it definitely looks like an archer rush from Turtle here, which is fine. But just in the future, I'd probably put only 2 in the gold, and then we'll start investing in the gold a little after that. Once you hit the feudal age, no need to plan too much in advance. Notice Mr. Zircon's making the same mistake here. You just don't need that many villagers on gold in the Dark Age. The only reason that you need villagers on gold, really, in the Dark Age is if you're planning for a fast castle age. But if you have 2 villagers on gold in the Dark Age, well, by the time you hit the feudal age, you will have 200 gold stockpiled. You do not need more than 2. 2 is the magic number. Definitely the magic number in that regard. 1's probably not enough, and 3 is probably a few too many. Alright, let's see. What else is going on here? I noticed that some people here are just stuck in the Dark Age for days. That's probably a result, honestly, of super duper weak economy.
No.
Let's see. Yeah, Tonka might just not have enough villagers. It's hard to say. Some people, besides Turtle, looks like some people are just a little behind in the villager count. Turtle looks to have a more reasonable amount of villagers, but it's just a result of idle town centers. And yeah, spamming the idle villager button is a good idea to keep track of your vills and whatnot, but what's more important... Ooh, fancy. What's more important, though, is focusing on just creating the villagers. Alright, so... looks like we're experiencing a little bit of lag here. If anyone in the Twitch chat has any questions or any concepts they want me to elaborate on, now is the perfect time to do it. Since I'm not playing this particular match, I can answer any questions that you have whenever, with no problems whatsoever. Looks like we got a pretty scary looking rush coming out from Turtle here. What I would like to see is if Turtle gets the fletching upgrade, that'll really improve the power of his archers. We're going for your blacksmith upgrades, guys. Alright. There's 3 golden rules to Aoe2. I talk about this a lot, but I gotta hammer it in, guys. I gotta hammer it in. What do you need to do? 3 golden rules. First golden rule, get to 100 plus villagers as fast as you can. Alright? If you're playing a 200 or higher population, which everybody does, you're going to want to get 100 plus villagers as fast as you can. And, ways to do this is going to mean that your town center should always be creating villagers or researching technology. When you hit the castle age, you're going to need extra town centers, stuff like that. You don't want to stop your villager production for anything until you reach that goal of 100 plus. Second rule, vary your army composition. This is like less relevant early game and more relevant in the late game, but you don't want to build just one of any unit. One of any unit will get you killed no matter what. There's not a single unit that you can make only one of and actually expect to get results against competent players. The game doesn't work that way. Sorry guys, don't mean to rain on your parade, but even your mass longbowmen suck balls because there's nothing you can do against buildings. Mass cataphracts, nothing you can do against buildings. At an absolute, ultra lazy minimum, you can make, one type of military unit, and then you have to back it up with siege weapons at the absolute minimum, but that is Super important to vary your army composition. Make more than one type of unit. It's huge, it's huge. Third rule. Upgrades, 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 upgrades. Alright, good. Turtle does have fletching. And yeah, just don't forget, guys, to get your upgrades, especially the blacksmith ones. Makes a huge difference. Like 60 minute-arms versus 60 minute-arms with no upgrades, and the other one has full upgrades. It's a wash. It's a wash. Mr. Zircon here is getting rushed. Very, very slow, poor reaction speed. Unfortunately, he didn't... When you're getting raided by these early game archers, like Turtle is doing right now, you want to take all your gold miners, drag a box around them, right? Drag a nice little box like this. Get them into your TC. So drag a box, press G for garrison them inside this town center. When these archers are gone, you press the send villagers back to work button, and you're good. No sense in ringing the town bell though, because remember, these farmers are not under any specific danger right now. They're not being threatened, so you don't want to ring the town bell because all the villagers inside your town center are idle. They're not gathering you any resources, and that means that you might as well not have them at all. Now, what I don't like is that Mr. Zircon's response here was men-at-arms. Men-at-arms makes no sense here. Archers are a counter to men-at-arms. What you want to do is build skirmishers like he's doing. Skirmishers are an archer counter. You want to build units to counter your opponent's units. You got to react accordingly. That's what strategy games are all about, guys. Unit counters, unit counters, unit counters. I do like that he's going to skirms now. He's going to definitely want a blacksmith, though, to be able to keep up with Turtle's archers, which do have +1 attack. Wood Sonlax, man, that's the point, though. This is an experienced player batch. You're sitting in the parking lot watching Aoe2. What are you doing with your life? You're doing great things with your life, sir. Great things. Oh, wait, Lombard have I actually not? Alright, I'll do that after this match, okay? I thought I had, man. I must have done goofed. Aha! Turtle here is doing that ever-classic mistake where he is investing so much of his attention in his forward offensive attack that he has neglected his home economy. This is just the kind of thing that you pick up over time, guys, but you know, all these farmers are idle all of a sudden. It happens, but while you're investing in your military, don't forget to neglect your home economy. Remember, your town center should always be creating villagers or researching in technology, even when you're managing your military. And that's hard to keep up with. It really is. I do like, though, the Turtle is transitioning into skirmishers, seeing that his opponent is transitioning into skirms. It would make no sense for him to keep making archers. He would just lose out in the money war. I like that Delta's economy is a lot stronger now. This is really, really good. This is really good. If you're falling behind in score, it's probably because your eco's kind of weak. Ashton in the Castle Age is doing a good job. He put down another town center. I like this a lot. However, this town center placement could be improved. Ideally, you want to put your town center, since it serves as a global resource drop-off point, and drop off any resources you want there. You want to ideally put it next to resources that you want to protect. So, but the highest priority is going to be the wood, because all resources come from wood. Through wood, you can produce food, you can build buildings, you can get a market to go get the other resources. So, you ideally want to put your town centers next to trees, and then if you can, next to trees and minerals at the same time. They should be placed next to resources, though, ones that you want to protect. Because the town centers not only serve as a drop-off point, but they also protect your villagers. So he could have, this is not bad, though, because he's right next to this gold mine, which is fine. But I would ideally prioritize the wood, but it depends. It depends. Now, Mr. Zircon's he's still getting heavily rated here, and he's not able to keep up with his defense. I mean, Turtle's offense is really strong. And notice how Turtle is prioritizing the villagers at the edge of Mr. Zircon's base. This is very, very important. Because, like I said, the town center is way too scary for early game combat. You can never engage an opponent underneath their town center until you're at least in the Castle Age. You don't want to sustain too many losses. So what Mr. Zircon should do, he should take all of his villagers that are on the lumber camp, and he should build a watchtower right next to his lumber camp. Yeah, building that watchtower will allow him to defend this area a lot better, definitely. And I noticed that his town center is indeed idle here, so he's going to need to create a lot more villagers to compensate, but he's in big trouble. He should really ask for some help from his teammates. Yeah, one watchtower to protect the wood and the gold will make a massive difference. Alright, this is a very good watchtower placement protecting this wood. Ideally, you know, he would probably want to build it closer to the gold, but he's not going to be able to, obviously. Turtle's not having any of this. He's going to need to pull off like all his villagers off the line, though. And Mr. Zircon's going to need some help from Tonka over here. What I would like is if Tonka would send his militia to go help his teammate. I think that's really, really important. I think Mr. Zircon is pretty much in deep trouble. Good town center placement here from Turtle. And yeah, upgrade's very, very important. The most important eco upgrade in the game, though, guys, is double bit axe from your lumber camp. You want to get that ASAP. If you're going for a fast castle age, you want to research it just as you start going to the castle age. And if you're not going for fast castle age and you're staying in the feudal age for a prolonged period of time, then just get it ASAP. And then yeah, Alarin is right here. You can just take your villagers and move to another area. So this is good because this watchtower also prevents Turtle from building his own watchtower, which is good, which is very, very good. Mr. Zircon's in deep trouble, though. He's going to need to constantly replace his lost villagers here, which he's doing. Very, very well played. He's going to need some help. Tonka's is going to need to back him up. Looks like Tonka is finally backing him up. Yes, I do see the knights. Very, very good. One thing I do want to keep in mind as well, guys, is that notice how these villagers have to walk so far from this lumber camp to this wood line. What you want to do is when there's about like a 3 to 4 tile distance from your lumber camp to the trees, build a new one. Think about all the amount of time that it takes for your villagers to walk from point A to point B. It's grossly inefficient. So build a new lumber camp. I think Ashton Young should definitely build a new lumber camp. Aha, Delta USA is getting raided by these knights. I do like him responding with these spearmen. Spearmen are a counter to cavalry units. Watchtower as well. Seems like a good idea. Get some of that defense going. This is good defense from Delta here. Good defense. But don't forget, guys, you cannot neglect that villager production. That's the most important thing in this game, honestly. Is to constantly be producing villagers. Looks like Tonka's reinforcements are finally on the way. This is good. Otherwise, Mr. Zircon's going to be in deep doo-doo. Deep doo-doo. I do like to see the forward siege workshop here from Turtle. Very, very good choice. Very, very good choice. And the reason, like Alarin says, the trade carts are important in the late game and not early is because trade carts are rather expensive. And early game, it's just more important to harvest from... Oh, wait, shit. No, sorry. Oh, my God. I've been so confused this entire game. Sorry, guys. I've been sick for quite a while. I'm still sick. For some reason, I thought Tonka was on Mr. Zircon's team. Actually, I just realized that Mr. Zircon's actually separated from the rest of his team. I don't know how that happened, actually. Well, that's pretty weird. But anyway, regardless, okay, I guess Tonka's on the opposing team. Whoops! I'm dumb. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Resin's still in the antihistamines, man. He's all delirious. That's pretty weird. Either way, Mr. Zircon needs some help from his teammates. So maybe, I guess King Yolo is on his team, right? Yeah, King Yolo should maybe attack Tonka or something, take some pressure off her. Someone should take some pressure off him. I think he's kind of fucked up at this point, honestly. If I'm going to be straightforward here, but yeah, no sense in investing in trade carts early on. They're wasted resources, honestly. All right. So anyway, back to upgrades. Talk about blacksmith upgrades for a little bit while we're here. Notice how Ashton Young here has made the unfortunate mistake of investing in his melee attack upgrades and not the defense upgrades. With your melee units, you want to invest in the defense upgrades and not the attack upgrades first. Reason being is that not only do you want to be able to take more hits on melee units. Melee units very, very, very rarely be able to take be able to get the first shot off, basically. So you're going to sustain some damage against ranged units prior. So if getting the defense upgrade allows you to live one more hit, that means you get one more attack off. If that allows you to get one more attack off, which with a knight, you know, that's an extra 10 damage, then that's so much better than an extra 1 damage, right? So you really want to get those defense upgrades, especially when you're sustaining all the ranged fire from the town centers and whatnot. When it comes to raiding, guys, that's huge. It's absolutely huge. You definitely want to be investing in the defense upgrades first, especially with knights when you're raiding. So what you want to do is invest in the defense upgrades on your melee units first. And then what you want to do with your ranged units is you want to invest in the ranged upgrades, the ones that add extra range and extra attack, like fletching. Alright, see you, Nero. Thank you for tuning in. So what do you want to do, yeah? It's because, yeah, getting the first hit off is huge, and in an archer battle, the archers that get the first hit are the ones that win. Looks like this game is unfortunately pretty over. Teams definitely do not look even at all. Turtle is just a huge, huge advantage here. Mr. Zircon's pretty much dead, and nobody has really done much attacking besides Besides Mr. Zircon here, who just unfortunately got ganged up on. He's in the feudal age. Still, he's pretty much dead. So really the only hope at this point is that... yeah, it's just one team is doing all the aggression right now. I haven't seen anything from King Yolo. He's getting at a rather strong economy, but what I want to see from most of you guys is just to constantly be producing your villagers. That should be the most important thing. If you can reduce your town center idle time, you can make the difference. But yeah, these guys can resign whenever they want to, honestly. That's up to them. No sense in dragging out a game unnecessarily. I totally understand, especially in Mr. Zircon's case, that he is as good as dead. So I do understand that if he would like to resign, that is totally fine. If his teammates would like to resign, or they'd like to up to them. But yeah, ideally I would like to see also more town centers. Ashton has a good number. He's got 3. Turtle has 3, but, I mean, Turte, sorry, it's Turt. It's not Turtle. King Yellow only has 2, which means he's just, he's producing villagers at a 33% slower rate than 2 of his opponents, which definitely makes a difference. This is over very quickly. I don't know, Sausage, there's not, there's not too much of a demand for this, honestly. Just because I guess like a good chunk of my... I mean, I can't really do anything with the second rookie match in one stream that I didn't do prior. It allows me to involve more players, yes, but I basically said most of what I can say here. I do like that, yeah, Delta's investing in his melee upgrades first. This is important, but what we're going to need is just stronger economies from these people. Is that this match is pretty much over, unfortunately. Turtle and Ashton have a much stronger economy than their opponents. King Yolo is the only one with an actual eco. Mr. Zircon's actually completely dead right now. And King Yolo's eco is much weaker than his opponents. There's just a lot of idle town center time, honestly. And maybe it's that their ecos are like imbalanced or something like that, but if you want, you know, the castle age is 800 food, guys, it's 200 gold. So what you're going to need to do is invest really heavily on food and get out of this castle age. If you're still stuck in the feudal age, and it happens sometimes in extended feudal wars, like I'm sure Delta is having trouble getting to that point where he gets 800 food and 200 gold, just use your market to rebalance your resources and get out of that feudal age. You do not want to be stuck in the feudal age for too long. There's nothing you can do in the feudal age, unfortunately. Or Mr. Zircon, rip. Alright, well, it's time to see if King Yellow has anything up his sleeve. He's definitely going to want his blacksmith upgrades, though. Otherwise, this is going to be one hell of a long haul. They should really tribute Mr. Zircon some things if they want to keep him in this game. Yeah, and you know, ideally, I too like to put my town centers to protect my eco, if I can help it. I'm not a huge fan of the aggressive castles, especially like this one from Turt, because, you know, like, castles can help you push into the opposing base, right? But this is trebuchet fodder. I mean, well, not at this point, but they can be if you're not careful. There's no one really who can treb this castle, but this castle's kind of pointless. It's not protecting anything from Turt, and Mr. Zircon was completely dead, so this castle doesn't protect anything. I like to put my castles, you know, like right around here, protect all these farmers as a nice defense against raiding. That means I don't need to leave units at my base to protect my base when I'm getting raided by cavalry. My static defenses can take care of that and allow me to focus heavily on my offensive push. King Yolo with the melee attack upgrade first. No. Level 1 defense upgrade first, please, guys. Makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Whereas, you notice I never get town patrol. It doesn't make a big difference. When I'm playing Black Forest and the map is unexplored, I do get town patrol, but much later. It's just a lower priority. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask. Mr. Nervous? Everything I've said in this video should be relatively relevant to you. Hopefully that helps in some way, but... what we want to do, you know, is just make sure that your town center is never idle. It should always be producing villagers. Like, that's the most important thing. Upgrades as well. Oh, Tonka doesn't even have loom. Tonka, you need loom, dude. Otherwise the villagers are sitting ducks. Sitting ducks, absolutely. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of town center idle time, especially from Delta over here. Like, the town center should always be producing villagers or creating, or researching a technology, sorry. Also, Delta should probably build another lumber camp. between this wood line, because like I said, it's that 4-tile rule. We just want to be efficient here. We don't want our villagers to have to walk too far to be able to drop off those resources. Alright, well, nothing has really happened recently, so hey man, if you guys have any questions at all, hello Andrew! Hello. Ask me anything. There's just really nothing too much else to talk about here. Let's see. I'll talk about unit choice a little bit, as I talked about in the last, in my last video, but... Oh yeah, basically in regards to unit choice, what do you want to do, you know, counters, 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 counters. That's why I do like to see these spearmen coming out here. Ooh, okay, so now this is a little bit of a better forward castle, because it protects all these forward buildings, but I don't generally like to use these castles offensively. I usually find that it's just better to use them defensively, because what if Delta actually hit the Imperial Age, or if King Yellow hit the Imperial Age, and they could just get out trebuchets and just tramp this castle down for free? And yeah, Tarkans are definitely not usually a ideal unit choice, because, well, I mean, when you think about it, they're just like light cavalry that are like really good against buildings, and they're not good enough against buildings to really justify creating them. I still do like Tarkans, but they're generally like a really situational unit. I would say they're only good if you're trying to raid someone's base, and you know they have no like spearmen to defend it, because then you can just destroy the entire enemy base if you get enough of them out, but you know, they're kind of risky. Knights are usually a better choice, just because knights are much better in combat, and then there's just, you just might as well build rams, right, if you're trying to take out enemy buildings, rather than Tarkans, because Tarkans don't kill them nearly fast enough, and Tarkans are expensive. King Yola here with the Knights, they've got no defense upgrades, and Teal's range units have max upgrades, so those Knights are just going to get completely shredded here. Blacksmith upgrades make all the difference, guys. Turt here recognizing that the situation is far beyond his opponent's control, and they're both going to forward the ever-loving piss out of Delta and take him out of this game ASAP. I do like that King Yolo is building up a nice economy. This is good. He's going to need, again, the blacksmith upgrades. King Yolo, don't forget those blacksmith upgrades. You need tons of blacksmith upgrades. Tons of blacksmith upgrades. It's going to make all the difference this game. It's going to make so much very difference. But no, their economies are not strong enough to be able to compete with their opponents. I mean, I don't know how many villagers Turt has, but Turt has a lot more. Ashton Young has a lot more than King Yolo. King Yolo's economy is getting stronger. I do like to see that. I would like to see a castle as well, perhaps on this hill next to his double mills, to protect those farmers from getting raided by enemy cavalry. But no, their ecos are just not strong enough to support enough unit production, honestly, at this point. And again, he's prioritizing the offensive upgrades for his melee units. That's a huge no-no, because that means that the ranged units are just going to kill them so much quicker. But I do really love this choice of Huskarls, though. Huskarls are so strong against almost everything that these opponents are building. Very, very smart. What you want to do is you want to be adjusting what units that you're building based on what your opponent is building. So, going to be adjusting that dynamically over time. Whatever the situation calls for. I would say normally that these aggressive forward castles are a bad idea, but I guess in this particular case it's fine. I don't know why Delta is deleting all of his houses or something. That's like considered super, I guess, BM, like when you're gonna resign, just delete all your stuff. There's no point. If you wanted to resign, you should just resign. Should you upgrade pikemen even if you aren't producing them at that point in time, just to have it on standby? Yes, but only if you only later on. Normally what you want to do is, you want to prioritize making units before you get the upgrades. That's like rule number 1. But if you don't need the units, then you might as well get the upgrades before you actually need them. But if your base is on fire, right, and you're being raided by knights, make spearmen. Don't bother upgrading them to pikemen until after you have some spearmen. But if you're not going to need the guys anytime soon, then yeah, get the upgrades. And okay, good. King Yellow is getting the melee ones. King Yellow should be able to kill Tonka, honestly, because Tonka doesn't really have anything to deal with these Huskarls. We're going to need some long swordsmen. I do like to see the Tonkas responding with men-at-arms, but yeah, Huskarls have very, very low Dura armor here. They're melee armor, which means that they take tons and tons of damage from these melee units, but Pikemen are not the answer here. Pikemen are much just weaker in combat. They've got weaker stats, so Huskarls are going to tear right through them. And I think King Yolo is going to be able to kill Tonka here. But no, this match has been long since over, though, unfortunately. Delta USA is completely dead. He has resigned, recognizing the situation. Totally understandable, and Mr. Zircon will not be able to build back into this game in time. We do get to see King Yolo, though, do a huge number on Tonka. Tonka, I do like to see that he's got tons of extra TCs. This is good. Great castle placement here from Tonka, protecting that wood line in his town center. I do like that. What he's going to want to do, probably get out some more villagers and maybe make a couple new military production facilities towards the back of his base. Because these ones are obviously dead, right? These are so dead. Oh, so very dead. So he's going to need more unit production facilities to get this out. And I do like this castle here. He'll be able to defend himself quite nicely. Ooh, and he's been stockpiling men-at-arms in the back. This is good. Alright, they're coordinating, and they'll both be attacking at the same time, and they should be able to take out King Yolo. And this match should basically be over. Yeah, should get pikemen at some point, obviously, but lower on the priority list. Ashton Young, though, with, again, forging. No. Get your scale mail and your scale botting armor first. Alright, yeah, see, this is what I mean, is this is a great castle placement from King Yolo here, absolutely fantastic, but the problem is his castle was not up yet, and this is what I mean. All these villagers are so very exposed, and they're just raiding fodder for Ashton Young over here, because this castle was not put up earlier. He probably didn't have enough stone. But yeah, this is what I mean by I like my castles as a defensive tool here. That way he could have protected against this raiding without having to pull back so many guys, and I don't even think he'll be able to get this castle up in time. I also like that King Yolo here has a lot of unit production facilities. He's going to need a lot of them to produce an army, but unfortunately he's really the only player left in his team, and he's getting pressured by all of his opponents. This castle will not go up, and this match is basically over. I would not be surprised if he wants to resign out of this one. I do like to see, though, that Mr. Zircon does have an army. He's trying to get back into this. I admire that. I really do. He might want a blacksmith. Oh, actually, no, he's already building one. Alright, good on him. But unfortunately, it's too little too late. And yeah, this match is basically over at this point. Poor King Yolo, though, he tried. This was a good game from all the players, definitely. But I think the moral of the story, guys, is upgrades, and create more villagers. Turt here demonstrating relative mastery of the concept of the game. I would say there are only a couple minor things he could work on. I don't think I'd ever want to build heavy cavalry archers on the Britons. They're just not a strong unit for the Britons. They're missing a lot of upgrades in their tech tree, so I wouldn't really build those. That, and maybe too much on gold in the Dark Age. You could maybe get a faster feudal time. Otherwise, Turt demonstrating some pretty good mastery of the game. Ashton Young as well. I would say that he should watch his economy a little bit more. Perhaps keep his wood line under control. Build extra lumber camps so that your villagers don't have to walk so far. Otherwise, he's got a pretty good concept of the game. King Yolo as well. But again, it's all about prioritizing those defense upgrades over your melee attack ones. So it makes a very big difference. All right, GG, well played. I hope you guys found this video both entertaining and informative in some way or another, and I hope this improves everybody's level of play. All right, GG, well played. Having a pleasure here, and I'm going to go resign and give them the win. Congratulations, guys. Check out the achievements. Yeah, King Yolo definitely killed a lot of units. He did a lot of work that game. Definitely did a lot of work that game. Alright, so this is good. Turt definitely had the strongest eco in this game. Like I said, we're shooting for this goal of 100 plus villagers as fast as possible. He made that goal. Ashton was close. Ashton could have made a couple more villagers, definitely. And, King Yolo, we need more villagers here, guys. It's 100 plus, that's the goal. 100 plus as fast as possible. And, this game went all the way up to 48 minutes. And if you didn't reach to 100 villagers 48 minutes, that's bad. But I understand that, especially in the place of King Yolo, he's getting pressured a lot. All the players with low villager counts have been pressured quite a bit. But Ashton definitely could have gotten to 100 plus villagers. So that's just the kind of thing to keep in mind. But a very good match from all the players here, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave me a like rating, and check out the rest of the stuff on my YouTube channel, as well as my Twitch TV pages, Facebook pages, and Twitter pages. I do live stream regularly, of course, so I would love to see you guys there. And thank you so much for the support, as usual. And I will see you all in the next video. For those of you who are watching this live during my live stream event, I will be back in just a moment, and we'll be moving on with the next match of the live stream. So, Stay tuned. GG, well played.